All right, Fresh, let's go to the first game of the weekend. The first game we're going to, our producer Drew is going to be at. It is homecoming week in Chapel Hill. The Duke Blue Devils, 6-3, 3-2 in the conference, traveling to North Carolina, 7-2, 3-2 in the conference there. Both these teams start off really, really strong, and then whoop, bottom's kind of falling off on them. Fresh, I like this matchup a lot. I think it's going to be closer than it looks like right now. At time record, UNC is a 14-point favorite, over-under set at 50.5. What do you got on Blue Devils versus Tar Heels?
I think that first off, this game is the what could have been bowl. Duke starts off taking down Clemson right off the bat. They gave Notre Dame all they could handle and then some. And if Riley Leonard's healthy in that fourth quarter, they have a good chance of pulling that one off. So you kind of feel a little left there. They obviously had that great game down at Florida State, and with Riley going out in that fourth quarter, got away from them, and Florida State took over. But Duke has always sort of been there. They've played aggressive, but they just haven't been able to finish in the big games. 1-3 versus ranked teams, and that only win actually obviously come in the opener versus Clemson, and then UNC on the other side, just looking steamrolling people, and then here comes Virginia, lowly old Cavaliers take them down in Chapel Hill, and then Georgia Tech takes them down the next week, and the wheels basically fell off. It wasn't like the defense was absolutely atrocious this year. They actually showed improvement. They just couldn't get out of their own way. Penalties, turnovers. It just all sort of rose its ugly head and kind of derailed them. And the way Louisville's playing right now, it would take a miracle for North Carolina to be back in the conversation for an ACC title game appearance. So this is kind of a play for pride. 10 wins are still on the table for both if they win out. So you still have something there to work with. But I think they're both going to sit back at the end of the year and kind of like, man, what could have been? I think that's the first thing. Obviously, Riley Leonard's not playing this ball game, so Duke's offense going to have to find ways to continue to evolve and make things happen on their own and survive in advance. And for them to even have a chance and that offense to really get going, Mike Elko's defense got to show up. They have to show up strong and play with a little passion. This is going to have to be a full team effort to take down a bitter. This is not basketball rivalry, Duke Carolina, but football. They've kind of heated it up recently over the past few years. And this is a chance for Elko. You have not beaten him yet as the head coach. Go in Chapel Hill and do it in homecoming. There's a lot of extra motivation. If you're ever the homecoming team that comes in, you should be a little pissed off because someone's actually saying this is a gimme win. And having a big rival be your homecoming team, if I want to motivate my football team, Mike Elko has a lot of right there on that bulletin board to get them going. On the other side, Carolina, Drake May, Heisman aspirations at the beginning of the year. Trez Walker coming in, the whole thing about him getting eligible. He plays, and he's obviously hurt now. Where is this team sort of functioning? How are they going to finish the rest of the season? They underestimate opponents in the middle of the stretch there. Can they actually regroup, beat Duke, move forward? They got NC State, they got Clemson next week, NC State the week after. You finish through, get yourself back on track. Maybe does Drake May want to stay? Your draft stock's kind of taking a hit. Maybe he goes, but this is a chance for you to leave a legacy and really play it out. Their offense is going to have to be very, very succinct. They're going to have to hit their receivers. Duke has played solid defense. They shut down Clemson. The only game that I saw them really truly get blown out was Louisville. They played Florida State real tough until the fourth quarter. They played that Notre Dame offense and they locked them down. Can that defense show up? And Drake May can't be worried. If you start turning the ball over and shorten the field for that Duke offense, who's still trying to find themselves, you might be in trouble. You've got to play a flawless football. You've got to use your abilities. You've got to throw the intermediate passing routes, set those up, and then run the football, draw the safeties into the box, and then take your deep shots. This is going to have to be your ball game. You got to shoulder the load and recover. Last week versus Campbell, it's an FCS opponent. I'm not even going to worry about that. You still, in my opinion, you've lost 2 in a row. Last week against Campbell does not count. You have got to come into this football game with a passion and a fire to recreate who you are and correct everything you made mistakes on. And you can't take Duke lightly. Duke has actually won 3 in a row when Daniel Jones was there in 16, 17, and 18. Yeah, you've won the 5 cents, the 4 cents, but Duke can find ways to get wins behind a decent play if you aren't taking them seriously. You have to be focused. You have to get in there. Right now, you're a big, large favorite. It's homecoming. I don't care about even covering the spread at this point. I just want you to go out there and focus on just winning the football game. Just baby steps right now for Carolina. Gene Chizik in your defense, tackle, wrap up, rally to the football. Do not let receivers get loose. In that Virginia game, receivers and running backs were getting loose in the secondary, and you guys just couldn't tackle at all. It was horrible. And letting Georgia Tech even have a chance. Again, no tackling, no pass rush. Where's this defense going to come from? You have own it. I don't care about you covering the spread. Just win the football game and keep moving on. If you lose to Duke, it's 3 straight conference losses. People stop taking Carolina football seriously. I mean, you have a chance of sort of maybe saving some face and have a 10-win season. But if you lose to Duke on Saturday in Chapel Hill, people are going to stop taking you seriously. It's going to start being real bad. It's going to start just a mediocre program you should really never back. So this is a big game for Carolina. If Elko and the Dukies can come in and get this dub, watch out because it's only going to springboard them forward with Riley Leonard, I assume, going to come back next year healthy. I think with the injury, he might decide to come back and play one more year. He kind of feels like that kind of guy. But on Saturday afternoon, I think the Tar Heels come in, they get it done. They win by 10. Duke keeps it close in an ugly ball game, but Carolina survives and moves on to play Clemson.
Like I said, Fresh, our producer Drew is going to be at this game. He's going to be there. It's going to be an interesting one for sure. But for me, it's going to come down to Marion Hampton. Fresh, it looks like, with everything that both these programs have gone through, there's only one thing that's truly consistent, and that's Marion Hampton. 4 straight games of 100 yards rushing. He's had a touchdown in every single one of those games. I think Drake May's really got to lean on him. He's already crossed the 1,000-yard mark for the season. He does a very good job catching the ball out of the backfield, and that's what is going to be able to put some pressure on the Blue Devils. Are you able to kind of keep Duke on its heels? Are you able to kind of, extend drives against Duke? What Duke did a really good job of is allowing people to move the ball in between the 20s and not finish off the drives. And that's what they did really well at the start of the season. Especially with the Duke offense sputtering as much as it is, that's what they're going to have to do in this game. They're going to have to, slow down the game. Yeah, okay, I'm going to make you sell for 3 instead of 6. That's where Amarion's going to come into play. For Blue Devils, I don't know what I can say about this offense anymore. Like, without Riley Leonard there, it kind of feels like a ship without a captain. Jordan Waters is a nice running back. He's had a fairly good year, although he's, since Leonard's gone out, like, has he really dominated very much? He looks like he's battling something himself as well. I just really don't know. I mean, for Duke, for me, it's got to be, if they're going to win this game, they got to do it with some defensive scores, maybe a special team pick 6, something along those lines. But I really have a hard time looking around and seeing a path to victory for the Blue Devils in this game. And that's sad to me because I really was excited about both of these teams entering into the season. I like UNC. I don't dislike Duke. I like Duke, especially for some other stuff. But man, I was really looking forward to this matchup, and now it's kind of like, it is what it is. So I don't know. Let me go. I'll go UNC by, it's 14. Yeah, give me UNC by 14. I'll take UNC in the points. They're at home. It's homecoming. Drake May is healthy. They're going to look to light up the scoreboard. Duke's going to have to get at least 4 or 5 sacks in this game and force Drake May into 3 or 4 turnovers if they want to have a chance in this one. But I don't see a path for victory for the Blue Devils in this game.
Yeah, I think this is real tough. If Riley Leonard's playing, this would be a very almost even matchup. I think we can get a lot of excitement, but they're kind of playing with an arm, left arm behind, a right arm behind their back at this point, and it's gonna be tough.
Right. Absolutely.